Not in traffic, really? Okay. Hey lovely people, Braden Grace here. Really excited to be doing a video like this. Today I'll be talking about mental health, which I think is a growing conversation that we are having in our day and age, which is amazing to see. For a while, especially when I was growing up, mental health was sort of something you just didn't talk about, you just dealt with it and that was it, really. And I think it is a growing conversation that is well worth the time, especially with people that are affected by it and people that have mental health problems. So in 2013, end of 2013, I was diagnosed with borderline personality disorder. That is a type of mental illness where your emotions are not regulated and your perception of your reality is heightened or dislodged by what is basically dislodged by intense emotions and instability, and things like that. Honestly though, being somebody that has borderline personality disorder, it's not an easy thing to live with, especially when you have a lack of people around you that understand, know, and I guess appreciate what it is, without the right sort of education, I guess, around it. And more and more I'm realizing how much people don't know about it. People can deal with anxiety and depression and bipolar, but not a lot of people really know what borderline personality disorder actually is. So I'm here to quash those things and to let you know what it is. Some of the differences about how borderline personality disorder affects a person is the effect that you have a sort of like a flight-fight switch, which is sort of easily tripped, basically, to the point that things always feel either more scarier or more different than, say, what the initial reality would be for somebody else. So in that sense, that's where the emotional irregularities come from. It's still, from what I've read on the net, borderline personality disorder is still being sort of well understood, in the sense that there's a lot that I think a lot of professionals don't actually know about. Yeah, so people with borderline personality, their brain is always on high alert with certain things, and once that switch is tripped, it's sort of almost these primitive survival instincts sort of come into play, which maybe are not exactly appropriate for the situation at hand, and I think I very much have those kind of moments, and to the average person, it's pretty hard, I'd say. Who knows me, it can be pretty hard, coping with me and all that sort of thing. I'm not trying to down myself, I'm just trying to be realistic to the point that My emotions are completely different in a completely different way to other people. So, according to mentalhealth.org.nz, which is a New Zealand mental health website, New Zealand's great for that kind of conversation, seriously. And I'm very blessed that I live in a country which open-heartedly deals with mental health and the progressiveness of how treatment is done in New Zealand, which I think is great. But basically, by definition, according to the website, borderline personality disorder is a pattern of having very unstable relationships, having difficulty controlling emotions and thoughts, and behaving recklessly and impulsively. Now, to give you a bit of a backstory, I was born prem, and for the general consensus with me growing up is that I was diagnosed with mental illnesses from probably the age of 6 or 7, and a lot of the assumption around that is due to me being born very early, and I guess the trauma that comes with being born very early, which is, that's normal. It is quite a normal thing for people who are born prem. Initially, I was diagnosed, when I was 7, I was diagnosed with ADHD, which turned into ADD, which is attention deficit hyperactive disorder, or attention deficit disorder, meaning that you don't, your attention span is 0. An example, when I was about 2 or 3, I was, my attention to play with toys was like 5 seconds. And my grandfather, when I was very young, used to have this electric motor, which I guess, it was a little child's toy thing, which was quite cool. And it used to keep me entertained for ages. So it's little things like that, growing up with that sort of thing. And then eventually, as I got older, into my mid to late teens, it sort of transitioned into depression and anxiety and all that sort of thing. And events in my life basically sort of heightened those symptoms, basically. And then 2013, roll around to 2013, I had been in a relationship for nearly 2 years, and it definitely was not healthy to a point. And saying that, though, we had a lot of good times, which is great. But I eventually went and saw a psychologist at a psych ward after trying to commit suicide. And he diagnosed me with borderline personality disorder, which is, from my understanding, is an emotional regular pattern. So, an emotional irregular pattern. Sorry, got to get that right. Which is characterized by intense emotions, fear of rejection, emptiness, not feeling like your life is going anywhere. So there's a lot of self-doubt and a lot of self-criticism that internally you put on yourself, and nobody else ever sees it unless you vocalize it, which is interesting. And I was put on a drug called quetiapine, which is a antipsychotic and a mood stabilizer as well. And that has been a miracle drug. That has been a miracle drug ever since I was put on it. It's made me a 10 times a better person than I ever have been. And yeah, just impressive. I really like this video. Basically, I want to run down some of the things you can say and some of the things you shouldn't say to people with borderline personality disorder, because while they seem harmless comments, they do hurt very, 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 very badly. So strap in, we're going to get there, and enjoy the ride. Psychologically. No, just kidding, it's fine. Okay. So here are some of the things that you can actually do to support somebody with borderline personality disorder. some advice as well. Communication is key. Always, always, always keep that level open. You know, be very transparent with communication. Ask open-ended questions. Don't allow somebody with borderline personality disorder to just insinuate or assume or misconstrue an idea or a question. Talk only with somebody with borderline personality disorder when they are calm. In a severe episode, it's not advisable. Especially in a severe episode, it's not advisable to deal with somebody who has borderline personality disorder, as they won't see clearly or won't think clearly as well. Always offer support. Support is absolutely key to somebody's well-being. Don't ever make a person with borderline personality disorder feel like they have no one. Because I've learned in my situation, especially when I have episodes, it's not nice and it's not a good thing. Avoid labeling and blaming somebody, because that can only heighten episodes, make episodes worse as well. Always, and this is key, and I've learnt this through losing a friend to suicide, always take suicidal threats seriously. Don't think, you're just dramatic. Take them seriously. Sit down with them once they've calmed down. Let them calm down. And always, always, always try and sort out where they lie with their threats as far as harming themselves. Always prioritize self-care. People with borderline personality disorder can definitely feel all-consuming, but it's important to seek out your own health as well as looking after the person that you love who has borderline personality disorder. And always know that that person is always able to achieve a normal life with borderline personality disorder, and that they're normal people. They're people and they're normal people. It's always very important that they are given the opportunity to live a normal life, because if they are made to feel that they're inadequate or they're disabled or they're lesser a person than the Joe Blogs that's sitting next to them, that's not healthy for somebody that has borderline personality disorder. It is very critical that you help them realize how normal they are and how they can achieve that normality as well, even when they don't feel like that. So I'm reading off my phone, so I'm not being antisocial. So some of the symptoms with borderline personality, just for your education, these are some of the emotional traits that characterize borderline personality disorder. Having an unstable or dysfunctional self-image or a distorted sense of self, basically about how one person may feel about themselves. Difficulty feeling empathy for others. A history of unstable relationships that can change drastically from intense love and idealization to intense hate. The persistent fear of abandonment and rejection, including extreme emotional reactions to real or even perceived abandonment. That is something that I definitely know that I struggle with. There we go, we're being honest here. Strong feelings of anxiety, worry, and depression. Impulsive, risky, self-destructive, and dangerous behaviors, including reckless driving, drug and alcohol abuse, and having unsafe sex. Hostility and unstable career plans, goals, and aspirations. I've been lucky enough that all I've wanted to do is work with IT and retail and anything like that. So, that's what I am. So, yeah. Borderline and borderline personality disorder tends to refer to the fact that along with that particular diagnosis, you're actually diagnosed with other mental disorders as well. So 9 times out of 10 when someone is diagnosed with borderline personality disorder, they're actually diagnosed with other things. In my case, I have borderline personality disorder, which is also characterized by depression and anxiety and mood swings whenever I feel you know. So that's what borderline means. Personality disorder is more to do with, I think, the irrationality of your personality and how quickly things can change with your personality. So that's a little bit of an insight as into what that actually means. So now around 80% of people who are diagnosed with borderline personality disorder display typical behaviors like suicide, cutting themselves, burning themselves, and other self-destructive acts. It is estimated that between 4 and 9% of people with BBD will die by suicide, which is sad, because that I feel is an indicator as to how much people don't know about the disorder. So, you know, I feel like this video is really good for that. Now, here are 21 harmless comments that actually hurt people with borderline personality disorder. Strap in, and don't feel bad. If you have said this to somebody who lives with something like this, don't feel bad. 9 times out of 10 I've realised that when these things are said, it's due to lack of education and understanding of the disability or mental health issue. So don't feel bad. Everybody makes mistakes. So here are some of the things that some of these I've actually heard myself, which is very interesting. Are you sure that BBT or borderline personality disorder is a real thing? Just snap out of it. You like drama. You're acting childish. Did you take your medication? Don't let it ruin your whole day. People with borderline personality disorder are manipulative and attention-seeking. Stop overthinking everything. BBT, isn't that like bipolar disorder? Once you realise you are loved, things will be better. Self-pity won't help. I wouldn't have guessed you had borderline personality disorder. You actually seem nice. You're overreacting. Just accept that I'm your friend. It's always something with you. Why do you make everything about yourself? You must be hard to love. You're too sensitive. Get over it. You say I love you too much. It's comments like that that are extremely hurtful, and I know that because I've seen and heard a lot of these. So don't feel bad. It's just in my experience, it's a lack of education and a lack of understanding what the actual diagnosis is about and what it does to somebody. But truly, the biggest way that I see people with borderline personality disorder progressing forward with their lives is people not judging them. People not judging them when they're at their worst. And people still being there for people being there for that person when they're at their worst and even at their best, you know. And I think that is such an important thing, is the sense of people giving up on them really digs deep into their self-esteem, and I know that personally. Also, another comment that I don't particularly like is when people call you psycho. Psycho is not a nice word. It sort of refers to the person as being completely and utterly disjointed, which I don't believe I am. I just believe I have personality. I believe I have difficulty regulating my emotions. And a lot of people I know just don't know how to deal with it. And that is a very, very sad thing, because I feel like there is a lack of understanding with this mental illness. You know, I've grown up in a situation where that sort of thing is it's not really understood. But I feel that as I grow up, people generally begin to understand it better and are able to, I guess, come to the table with a better understanding and a better way of managing those sort of things. You know, I do this video in hopes that it helps people understand and that it really helps other people, particularly people dealing with borderline personality disorder, feel better about themselves in general. 2 years ago, I lost a friend to suicide. He did not have the same disability that I did, but he died nonetheless. And I think it was a lack of understanding from the people that were closest to him. And had that understanding been there, they would have been better equipped to help that person. And, I just think that mental illness doesn't make you a lesser a person or an unstable person or anything like that. It actually makes you kind of special. And I believe that with all my heart, that just because you have a mental illness or a disability of any sort doesn't make you any less of the person that's sitting right next to you in a waiting room at a doctor. You're just as special and unique as the person sitting next to you. And I believe that people need to hear that. People need to understand that. And even if you don't believe in yourself, you need to surround yourself with people that actually believe that about you. And I think that is a powerful concept because I believe it's a concept that can save people's lives and save the people that are around those type of people more so. And I think that is such an incredible thing, and I think we all need to understand and appreciate mental illness. I mean, in the 1980s, it was considered taboo really to talk about, and I think that it's a positive thing having a growing conversation about mental health and understanding and believing in oneself when you are dealing with that and knowing that you can achieve anything you want to put your mind to. It doesn't make it any easier, I'll be honest, but I think that if people understand you better and understand you more, then I think that that is a beautiful thing and a positive thing. Mental health is still very much a taboo subject for a large group of people, but that conversation has been had more and more regularly than ever before. So thank you for watching this video. If you like, give it a thumbs up, and also please subscribe so you can see future videos like this. But yeah, that was that. And be safe, be well, and know that mental health doesn't have to end you. It can actually be a part of you, and you can actually blossom with that part of you. So, love you, totally believe in you and your potential, and knowing that your best is yet to come. Love you.